Okay, so it is currently 4:52 in the morning at the time of recording this video, and well, considering that I am a borderline insomniac at this point, I shouldn't really be too surprised at the fact that I'm only just now learning about this. But also I apologize for having to be a little bit more soft-spoken in this video. I am coming off of having COVID pretty rough, so I'll bump my audio up a little bit in the edit, but if I'm still too quiet, I apologize. I'll do my best to try and fix it in post. In the midst of me not being able to sleep, I decided to try and do a little bit more research on the Caden controversy with Rooster Teeth. So the only reason I was really doing this is because I've been seeing a couple of retweets of Caden kind of coming out and having to apologize for things that she said in the past and for some things that she kind of came off as being a little bit hypocritical in her twit longer. So this video, if obviously you clicked on it if you're watching this and you saw the thumbnail and you saw the title, so you know this isn't really about Caden, but I did really want to address that just very briefly. I'm not planning on doing an immediate update on Caden. I'm going to kind of wait for some more things to come out about it, because it does appear as though there might be a little bit more to this issue, but we wanted to at least breach the topic a little bit on our channel because we're both really big Rooster Teeth fans, so it was worth talking about at the time. Just bear in mind there will 100% be a update and sort of a continuation of the Caden story, because it does seemingly involve a lot more people at Rooster Teeth than I think a lot of us are really aware of, and there are some new details that have been coming out around the controversy that's kind of painting Caden in a little bit of a bad light, but some other things that are also painting Rooster Teeth in an even worse light. So just, there's just a lot of stuff happening, but it kind of seems like it's something that we're going to have to come back to in maybe a few weeks to a month or so, when everything's kind of given time to settle. So anyways, obviously if you've read the title, then you know that this video is about Adam Kovic. So I actually didn't know this information that I'm about to tell you, and I saw it just kind of being mentioned in some sort of offhand comments on Reddit. I actually had to go and try and find some stuff, and so bear in mind that alone is kind of a problem that, for all the issues that Rooster Teeth has been having, you'd think that they'd want to be more transparent about new information coming to light, and they'd want to be a little bit more aware of kind of the things that are happening. The only reason this information is even known is because moderators on the Funhouse subreddit decided to go ahead and reach out to a former victim of Adam Kovic's to try and share some information and glean some more light on the topic and kind of make people more aware of what he was doing behind the scenes. So I thought this is important. This is an important thing to kind of mention, because for Rooster Teeth fans, I think Adam Kovic has kind of been given, I'm not going to say an unjustified fair pass, because, again, obviously I am not Adam Kovic. I don't know the guy personally. I wasn't privy to any of this information. I'm operating on the same information that 99% of the people in this scenario are operating on, right? That being said, we here at Scoop Hash, meaning me and Shane, did kind of give Adam a little bit more leeway when it came to all the controversies, and that's specifically just because when everything was going down, it appeared as though the worst of what Adam had kind of done was, he was being a little bit voyeuristic with his wife, and there was kind of some, that there were some concerns that he was, kind of abusing the power in his situation to kind of hook up with fans. But it does appear that that was, at the time considered to be sort of the worst of it. That's no longer the case. So for those of you who don't know, Autumn Farrell, who is now currently Autumn Green, because, her and Bruce are a thing, she had actually made a bunch of comments about the Adam Kovic stuff, and she kind of broached, elaborated on a lot of the same things we had already talked about. However, there was another person who was a content creator by the name of Misty Dawn. You've probably seen her in a couple of things here and there. So I just kind of want to read a couple of things on here. So this actually only came out 2 days ago, so this is still relatively new information. So I'm going to just read a couple, I'm going to kind of read her kind of comments on it and sort of then elaborate on it as we go. It's fairly long, but it shouldn't take us too long to get through, and I'm doing it more in this format because, again, this is all brand new information to me, so I'm kind of just reacting to it as we go. Last update: I was signed with Machinima. That's important to note. This was, I believe, prior to Funhouse, or maybe it was kind of just during the inception of Funhouse. We'll get to that here in a minute. I was contacted online and asked to come in the West Hollywood office for a meeting about becoming a director/partner with my YouTube channel. I ended up voicing Nina and Sanity Not Included, and I hosted various other streams, convention coverage, and interviews. Kovic was in that first meeting. I met everyone, about 6 people. Machinima was relatively new. They seemed nice. Adam was flirty and I thought he was cute. I had no idea he was in a relationship. I was 23, 24 at the time. He started emailing me about coming to First Fridays, which was a drinking meet and greet for everyone at Machinima. I came most Fridays and he would come to my car to make out, which led to more. I was not an in-office employee. I was talent and had a different contract, so typical work relationship issues weren't as visible. So again, that's worth mentioning and worth keeping in mind. As far as we're aware, these actions were consensual at the time they were happening. Continuing on, then I'm at the Inside Gaming Awards and I find out that not only is he not single, he has been with someone for years. I decided to cut him off. I knew plenty of others in the office, so I still came in when booked to host or etc. One PAX in Boston, Adam showed up to my hotel room begging for attention. I refused. This was about 2 years after I stopped talking to him. As recent as 2018, he followed me around E3, party to party. At the 3 Black Dot party, I had just had it. I stood in the corner of the outside area with my friends to hope that he would get to a point, or hoping he would get the point, sorry. One, a former female Machinima employee as well, we'll call her Jane, her boyfriend ended up yelling at Adam to leave me alone. He responded with, "So you did mean to unfollow me." He then emailed me through his RT email trying to book me for makeup work over and over. I eventually told my now husband the whole story. E3, the years of it, he emailed Adam to his RT email to leave me alone. So we were aware that Adam was kind of trying to use his influence to kind of get with people, right? This goes a little bit further than that. If what Misty is saying is true, not only is Adam literally breaking the law by stalking somebody and by harassing them both sexually and professionally, but he's also doing this while under multiple different professional work umbrellas. We're talking Inside Gaming, we're talking Machinima, we're talking eventually Rooster Teeth. Like, I'm sorry, but even from this point forward, regardless of whether or not this story gets worse or not, because like I said, you're hearing at this at the same time that I'm hearing about it. I have not read I have not read Misty's comments to this video. So if it gets worse from here, I think it's safe to say that we gave Adam too much leeway. Continuing, I'll keep names different as it's their choice to be public. One of my best friends, Becky, was a writer for Machinima before she moved on to IGN. She had many issues with Adam and he was turned into HR at Machinima. Nothing was ever done, although he was reported more than once. Then the mass exodus of Inside Gaming happened. About 6 months into that, I had a few friends leaving that were in off-camera work departments for Rooster Teeth that were Machinima alumni as well. I became closer with a couple of the sales team members at Rooster Teeth. I told, we'll call him Greg, a senior level manager above Adam, many times about Adam's behavior and to watch out. So again, more evidence that Rooster Teeth was aware of people having these issues, of people having harassment complaints, of people having sexual issues, of people having stalking issues, people being genuinely just very unprofessional, etc., etc. So again, more evidence of Rooster Teeth just kind of sweeping things under the rug in order just to bring on talent. Now after that, I had a former coworker, Abby, from a different office start at Rooster Teeth mid-2020. I warned her about Adam, and she said a few others in the office did as well. I personally told Greg, again, coming to him in the sense that it would be an expensive PR mistake to keep letting Adam slide. Abby also expressed concerns to her new boss not only about his behavior, but that his voiceover in videos was vulgar and not appropriate for the platform. We all know how people talk in live gaming, but it's different when you are selling ads to make it profitable. His boss was informed that his content has some issues, and of the rumors, Greg did nothing. 6 months later, the infamous Google Drive was released. Instead of preparing, they just milked profits from Adam's content and then acted shocked about something that everyone knew. This behavior isn't new. It's just in the public now, and we no longer turn a blind eye to this. The gaming industry mentality in the 2010s really sucked out my love of gaming. These behaviors from many was not only known, but willingly looked over time and time again. So I had to make a little addendum in the midst of recording this because I actually bothered to go read some of the comments. Turns out that James and Bruce actually chimed in the comments, which is more than I can say for pretty much anybody else at Rooster Teeth. So keep that one in mind. I want to talk about James's comment first real quick because I think it's a bit easier just to kind of mention and then not talk about. Bruce made a comment too that I really want to point out. So James, quote, "We support Misty. Her account of harassment aligns with what we learned about Adam. We're grateful to this subreddit for giving her a platform, to see the people here supporting her, and to Misty for speaking out. For clarification, because it's coming up in many of the follow-up questions, what and when we knew is different for certain members of our team. But the oldest incident any of us were aware of is the one referenced by Autumn. None of us worked to protect him." End quote. So yeah, okay. At least James is at least coming out and saying, hey, yes, we knew some of this stuff was happening, but for many of the people at Funhouse, them knowing about it is when the rest of us found out about it. But there was one person who knew maybe just a little bit more, and that person is Bruce Green. So from Bruce, hey all, first of all, I want to thank Misty for speaking up about this. I can only speak to my experiences with Adam over the years, but I am incredibly sorry she had to go through any of this. I did not know Adam was reported to HR at Machinima. I started working closely with Adam in 2013 at Machinima, and I was middle management, so I was never privy to any of these reports. In 2019, at Rooster Teeth, I was alerted to Adam Kovic's incredibly inappropriate behavior. I reported it to HR, asked HR to fire Adam, and was laughed off the phone by HR. I then left Rooster Teeth because nothing was done about it, which is what I told them in my exit interview. I echo what James said. What and when we knew is different for certain members of our team, but the oldest incident any of us were aware of was the one referenced by Autumn. None of us worked to protect him. Rooster Teeth HR failed each and every one of us, and I'm sorry I couldn't do more. It eats at me every day." End quote. I think we can kind of all agree that if anybody at Rooster Teeth or former Rooster Teeth feels like they're in any way pure to all the events that have gone on, it's pretty much Bruce and Jeff. They seem to be like kind of the only two genuine people who are like the few good people that are left, you know. Like I swear it's so disheartening. But I just want to mention something. If you saw the podcast with Bruce when he left Funhouse, or when you saw other content like after his sabbatical, bear in mind that was content that he was just putting on a face for, knowing full well he was leaving the company because they were refusing to hire a piece of talent based solely on what I can only assume is fan appeal. Like they didn't want to get rid of Adam because they were like, ha ha ha, you're stupid. So again, this is now like official confirmation that yes, Bruce didn't leave Funhouse because he really wanted to leave Funhouse. He didn't leave Rooster Teeth because he was sick of the grind or anything like that. Like from all accounts, he genuinely really wanted to keep making content with them, but he left because Rooster Teeth consistently undermined people who were reporting harassment and then did nothing about it and then laughed at people for reporting it. This is the company some of you are still supporting. Just throwing that out there. As I was saying before, I actually was not aware of any of this information. I remember reading something from Autumn about kind of like, you know, validating what some people were saying about Adam, but there wasn't really anybody who had any sort of like tangible, like sort of like story, who had like any sort of like tangible history to really go along with it. And admittedly, maybe more of that's just due to the fact that I know more of Misty's content than I do of Autumn's content. So when Misty actually made these, like, you know, kind of this, you know, known factoid about it, kind of perked my ears up a little bit more, because then I was like, okay, so maybe there's a little bit more to this. Basically, at the end of the day, if you are supportive of Adam Kovic, I mean, you know, I can't change your mind. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I think that it's okay that you do after hearing stuff like this. But if that is your prerogative, then I would encourage you to go seek out content that is going to be more supportive of it. I know that we kind of tried to give Adam a little bit of a break. You know, we talked about the update where like he was coming out with his book and he was coming out with new stuff. And we even mentioned in the Caden update that we were kind of hoping that this was a sign that Adam wasn't really quite as involved in a lot of the stuff as he was. But now with more stuff coming out, I think it's safe to say that even though we haven't seen like the hard tangible proof yet, have absolutely heard from multiple witnesses now that Adam was, you know, there really is no way to sugarcoat it. Adam was deliberately breaking the law by harassing and stalking people that weren't giving him attention that he had previously received from them. This isn't like the Ryan Haywood stuff. In a way, there's some sort of correlation to be made. There's definitely a pattern of things that RT employees seem to do that everyone just kind of seems to like brush over if they were a founding member, which we already talked about that with Caden stuff, and believe me, we're going to have a lot more to say about it in the future. But, you know, like, whereas with somebody like Ryan, who was, let's not sugarcoat it, an outright predator who was, yes, on one hand, cheating on his wife with willing partners, but then he was also preying on young women and absolutely utilizing their naivete to sexually assault them. Let's not split hairs here. What he was doing was completely illegal. And if any of this is true about Adam, which we've now heard from multiple people that it is, then he was absolutely breaking the law as well. And again, what's even worse about it is, or maybe not even worse, but one of the worst parts about it is the fact that, again, this is now like the 19th person in a row who has left Rooster Teeth and then mentioned something about it, who said, oh yeah, no, all this controversy, all this bad stuff, yeah, they know about it. The founding members know about it. Management knows about it. Just nothing is being done because it means we have to oust our personalities and we have to oust the talent that's a part of it. Like I said in our first video about Caden, oust them. It's one of the it is genuinely one of the only things that is going to keep RT from just dissolving at the seams. I still want to support this company. I know that I said in the other video, like, I'm not going to be able to do it in good conscience, and yes, I do stand by that. But again, like, I want to believe there are still good people at Rooster Teeth. I don't want everyone's childhood to blow to smithereens because, well, they just keep, getting in worse and worse shit. I don't believe that that's going to continue to be the case. I think at some point they are just going to break even and just kind of start over and reboot the fucking company. I just think that the longer they put it off, the worse things are going to get. But nonetheless, guys, thanks for checking out the video. Like I said, I know this one is a little bit more kind of unprepared. I didn't have a script for this one. I just basically read it and then reacted to it. I just thought it was worth mentioning because we are definitely backtracking any amount of support we had for Adam Kovic, because yeah, we were hoping that the worst of it was just his infidelity and his, voyeurism, I guess, for lack of a better term. But now that more stuff has come out about it, yeah, go to hell, Adam.